So I'm watching this video right now, right here. I'm saying, what am I seeing, bro? Put me on that chair right now. Low-key, put me on that chair. This was actually a good fucking take. This was a good debate from this writer. Look at it. Look at this fucking jackass talking. What is he saying? Like, look at this.
My next topic
This video is... Oh, for fuck's sake.
Each role has...
Fuck! Man. Look how jacked I am, though, Loki. How jacked I fucking am, though. Bro! Dude, this fucking camera, man. What the fuck? Nice. Yo, can this camera just not give me AIDS, though, Loki? There we go. Alright, this take, low-key, let me get this shit out of the booster. If you want a high elo, just take this. So, this take initially
has a similar influence on the game.
Pretty good question. Why is the lighting so ass, by the way? Dude, I've gotten so big, though, low-key. Holy shit. How much weight I gained. Anyways. This, low-key... Good question. Like, next time, Riot Games, Team Liquid, whoever the fuck, I worked for you guys, Team Liquid, before. I made video for Broxa. Put me on that chair, dude. Fly me out, put me on that chair. I will debate this shit to my deathbed, bro. Kill me right now with a gun in my face. Put a bullet between my fucking, like, in my temple right now. I will debate this. Why is jungle the most... Like, this is where the question leads up to. Just listen to it.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
Cringe, but okay, keep going.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, Matthew. Nice to meet you.
So I believe that I know that the purpose of the game is that every person has their own role to play within.
Yes.
So like the top laner will be trying to be the powerhouse and whatnot, but there are definitely roles that have more impact on the game, and I'd say by far it would be the jungler.
It would by far be the jungler. Okay, so it led up to something good, okay? It led up to something good. Alright? It led up to something good. Listen here, though. Here's the catch. Here's the catch, though. This guy, these people here, no one here is above Emerald. Not even Diamond, bro. Not even Diamond. Put me in that chair right now, bro. Why? Why is jungle the most impactful role? Look what he's saying, by the way. Don't smile, though. Don't smile. Do not smile. Do not try to fucking smile.
Or as a power force to either equalize a lane from someone being behind or to push someone who's already ahead. It's like we often hear the terms like playing for like top or playing for bot. But in addition to that, junglers also have the ability to make calls on the map and influence how their laners play to specifically get objectives. So like, often when I play jungle, I will say that I want to wait for mid lane to push in, or I want the bot lane to aggressively push in now so that I can get the dragon. And in doing so, then that would affect their decisions on how to play.
Right. So his take, summarized, is a whole pile of fucking dog shit. And I'll tell you exactly why. He says jungle is the most powerful role in the game because it can gank lanes. Interesting. And is the powerhouse. Okay, interesting. Right. Let's debunk that shit. Let's debunk that shit real quick, because it's bullshit. It's actually bullshit. Like it's as if you say, well, support is broken because it can heal you later. Dog, it's what the fucking role does, right? If you play Enchanter, it can shield you, dog. Does it make you broken? Probably not. It's not that the role has access to every role, and that's, by the way, bullshit. The role does not have access to the role does not it's not because the role has access to every lane that it's powerful. It's actually the opposite. It's actually why it's kind of a flip role, right? And why it requires like a little bit of brain. And I'm not even a fucking jungle main. I hate jungle. I'll say how it is. It is a pretty easy role to play, but it's a hard role to play effectively in very high elo, and I'm going to tell you why. It does feel like that if you're actually giga low, yes. But it's not like the role of a jungler has shifted. Back in the day, it was like you didn't even play jungle. Back in the day, it was like that gold was just on the map. It's like in fucking Deadlock, where yeah, you can choose to be efficient and farm them, I feel like that was the like, you know, that was the overarching idea with League 2 when they realized there's actually quite a lot of gold, at least as much gold on the jungle camps as much as there is on the lanes. People are like, oh, let me pick junglers, and that role shifted into something that is like, well, okay, if I'm in between lanes and farming camps, I can also just walk on the lane or like behind the laner and assist him too, right? Sort of like a support assisting just the ADC, but instead of the ADC, you're like assisting the map. You're playing the map. That is what makes it powerful, is that you influence the map. Does that make it OP? No. Why? Because you can influence the map on fucking every role. No, you can, right? Mid laner is also a really good example. You play an assassin mid like Talon, you play Nafiri, any assassin mid, you will go bot lane a lot and just give them fucking aids. You will go top lane a lot, give them fucking aids. You're playing, well, a mage can also do that, but the only one that comes to mind right now that could do that is like Ahri maybe. Yeah, Ahri could go roam because she has like she can gank pretty well because of her like dashes, right? Other mages like, oh, I can gank. I'm a mage. I can gank. Well, I'm really giga strong if I, you know, respond to my laner maybe roaming that is playing an assassin mid and doesn't want to lane against a Syndra because he's getting uncurable diseases doing that. I can just get plates and get farm and then just one-shot him mid game, right? Or like when he comes to lane next, for example, right? He can respond to that roam with his own roam after he pushes the wave. Why? Because mages usually have pretty good wave clear. So what makes jungle broken is not actually the jungle role itself. It's by junglers, nowadays at least, being way too effective, bro. That fucking idea in Riot Games' head, that by the way influences other lanes too, not only jungle, but I'm focusing on jungle right now, it does influence top too, is like the variety of being able to play something that is unorthodox in jungle or in top and it being viable. It not being strong, but it being viable, right? Example Vayne top, example Varus top, example, I don't know, range top laners, but there used to be range top laners before too, you know, Jace existed forever, Gnar existed forever. But like unorthodox range tops, Anivia tops, some mages are being picked top recently, I noticed. Their variety gives them viability on top lane, right? But they're never like really spammed. You can't go Anivia every game. You can't go Vayne top every game. You will get punished eventually if you don't play the lobby carefully. In jungle, you do not have that, bro. Why? Because a fucking Zed passive, for example, the Talon Bleed, the absurd monster damage that they added to like literally every champion makes them just one-shot camps and clear as good as like a traditional jungle that was like pretty much built or designed to clear. The first example to my mind that comes is actually, believe it or not, Karthus. It's probably not the first, it's just the first that comes to my mind. Karthus was a mid laner, right? He was played like as a mage bot as well, by the way. So the whole mage bot meta, I'm pretty sure, was also started by Karthus. But he was a mid laner traditionally, if I don't remember correctly, he was a mid laner. Then they realized this motherfucker has quite a bit of AoE damage and pretty good clear. So then he became a jungler, right? And like, do you ever see a Karthus mid anymore? No, because he has like insane clear weaknesses that he cannot solo lane. He has so like obvious weaknesses to him as a character that you cannot mid lane with him anymore nowadays. You can't. Like, you literally can't. You lose 99.999% of matchups. You will eventually get to that scaling point, but why not get there while not inting, while having an easier time and almost guaranteeing your scaling by playing a jungle, by playing maybe bot lane in a 2v2, right? Where ADCs early are also not as strong, where it's kind of like balanced, and you have like a support that is like, I guess, assisting you, right? And that's where we come in, why jungle is broken. I said it. Guaranteed scaling. Junglers, and you can debate me on this, junglers have guaranteed scaling. Unless you're in a very high elo lobby where every camp is kind of low-key just being very contested. In my opinion, I think it's being contested too much, bro. You will fight 3v3. I'm not kidding. I go through my match history right now, And I'm not even high elo on my second account that is not banned. I'm like Diamond 1, I think, right? Or Masters fucking 10 LP. I don't remember. Maybe Decade. You will find people there sometimes. Okay, like rotating for grubs, I get it, sure. Bro, you will find people rotate 3 people, not the support roaming, not like the top laner moving. No, you will find a whole ass ADC, mid laner, support, everyone rotating for one single Wraith invade, for one single Grump. These motherfuckers will not drop 80 gold to not fight and flip a fight, right? Especially when we're weaker. That's like the biggest, like, absolute, like, biggest macro misplay that everyone makes in, like, I don't want to, like, because we always say like high elo, low elo. Let's say mid elo. In like the top, who's in Diamond and Masters? Like top like 10% of players, I think. Let's focus on that top 10% because it's like the players are like not like terrible, and definitely not good. Right? They're like in the middle where they're efficient enough to climb, but you can clearly tell they just flip plays like on cooldown, bro. Like that is why everyone says like, oh, Emerald is cancer, Emerald is this, Emerald is that. No, it's not cancer. Why? Because you in Emerald, you get out with basic mechanics, bro. You mechanically become good at that champion, and you instantly fly out of like Emerald. I guaranteed, bro. I put my life on it. The house I'm in right now, I'll put that on it. I'll put it on that statement. I will give you my house, bro. I'll sell you my house and my fucking my car, my Peugeot 406 from the year 1999, dude. Like I'll put everything on it, bro, and I'll throw this like iced out chain on it too. I'll throw anything on it, bro. You will get out of Emerald. Those are not difficult. To get out of Masters is actually really difficult because players, while mechanically, yeah, they're good, you get in games where someone is like macro-wise so ahead of the curve. Meanwhile, some players just like flip plays. And this is exactly why jungle is broken, because it's the most susceptible role to flip plays. For some reason, it's always the junglers who flip for one goddamn camp. And this is exactly why it's OP. Because if you just don't flip for that camp, do your full clears, gang 0 times, right? Play on your prios, maybe invade when you have like 1 winning lane. But let's say we go in a scenario where you have 0 winning lanes. At worst, at absolute worst, your solo laners are donkeys and don't rotate on like any of the counter jungling if, and we're talking if the enemy counter jungles, right? If, which I've never seen someone actually abuse a prio or like a jungle track, like a well jungle track, to get like the counterparts camps. Only then it becomes a lane where you actually PvP. Other than that, that gold is guaranteed, right? On other lane, you get frozen on. On other lanes, you get like poked on. On other lanes, you get constantly harassed to not get your gold. What does that mean? That means as a jungler, you will always be ahead of the curve or at the exact same level, with the sole exception of Gojo Satoru. No, I'm kidding. With the sole exception of a top laner who has finished his quest or played his lane perfectly. Then he will be ahead in gold more than you, and XP by a margin that is at the start still not too far, but also will like marginally, because of like the amount of extra like I guess XP you get from the quest, right? Because that scales upwards. It will marginally get worse, but like at the start, right? And when do you like ideally finish your quest as a top laner? I mean, I guess ideally in like the first, I don't know, I most of the times have it by like level 9, 10, unless I'm like giga stomping my lane, right? I have it earlier. But other than that, you around that time you have your TP and you have your lane quest and you can influence other map more, and that's when you like kind of starting to snowball, and if you fell behind, you kind of get that XP back or be way ahead of the curve. But until that point, a jungler just had like the sole reason for me, he has guaranteed resources. He has them, bro. You cannot tell me differently. A jungler has guaranteed resources, and you can come and start with like Yeah, but counter jungling. Yeah, but like if the enemy is smart is doing that. 99% of the player base will never experience that because they're in very low elo. When they get higher and they experience that and they do not know how to counterplay, they will drop back down. It's just that simple, right? So until that point, he has the most influence in the game. And then, ironically enough, even after that point, even after you're high elo and people start playing for jungle, you know, I know that because I myself play my lane to assist my jungler, right, to become strong. Even after that point, the role is the most influential one because simply it makes the players from the other game play for you, almost be forced to play for you, because if you don't rotate, he will flip and end that play, you know, like he can spamming all of, like, you know, everything kind of revolves around that role to some degree. And like the fact that we want to secure the objectives that the jungler has to secure or be alive to secure, and most of the times if the jungler is not alive and the enemy jungler is alive, that objective is gone. So I'm not speaking mainly just like raw power output of the jungle role. It's a combination of three things. Number one, the thing that I've been explaining until now, like guaranteed resources. Number two, the fact that players play around you, and the fact that like your jungler is dead and the enemy jungler is alive, you can't do an objective. You can't even walk up for, like, I don't know, if you know no one is shadowing you, if you know like, oh, the jungler is dead, he can be neither top side nor bot side, you know, oh, I don't know, like, or maybe I know where their enemy jungler is, but if he happens to be on my side of the map, I can't play up, or I have to be careful. You have to like adjust your playstyle, right? He has influence in that too. So it kind of like dedicates the pace of the game, which makes it not the most broken role or powerful. Like, right, I can 1v1 a jungler as a top lane. It's not like that. We're talking about impact. And the third thing, and like almost most important thing, it was well, let me think about it. Oh yeah, the fact that you can, but that's like not an like, that's not like a jungler problem, it's more like of a champ problem, but it's the fact that Riot allows this that makes it that way. For example, because of the two things that I just said, you can very easily mitigate your champion's weaknesses and guarantee a point of where your champion flourishes the way it's supposed to, and be even overpowered because that champion was designed, made, and kind of balanced around a lane. Again, the first that comes to mind for me, way back in the day, was Karthus. I know there was a point in the game, it was years ago, where Karthus was completely Netanyahu, bro. He was like completely age-ward, you know, in the jungle. Absolutely broken, because you got your scaling, you PvE'd, and people couldn't like really abuse your weaknesses. What did we do? We added even more shit to the jungle, like base region while you're in the jungle. Killing camps guaranteed you getting like HP, so you didn't even need to, like, you know, you fucked up a gank, you didn't even need to back. You go back to your jungle, clear 2 camps, and you can already like play the map again. Things like these that make champions just simply not have weaknesses that should have clear weaknesses. Right now, I can name more examples than just Karthus. I don't want to say Karthus right now is OP. Quite the opposite. I don't think he's that good, to be honest. But that's like where it started, kind of. Mundo, Ambessa, many assassin junglers. What else? Just overall, you can see the pattern. Just overall champs that, if you think about it, before 1 or 2 items, those champs are not really playable on lane, or they are playable, but you have to like play really, like, watch Aloy's video how he plays Mundo, like being like, he started the whole trend of like buying Warmogs on Mundo first instead of Deadmans, because you get more value out of the regen, so you don't get like fucked up in lane, so you can kind of like guarantee your scaling more. You don't need all of that in jungle. You don't need that. You have like a budget Warmogs. As soon as you enter the fucking jungle, you're regenning, bro. And you get to 2 items. You get to fucking Heartsteel and Deadman's Plate, and then you just walk over the enemies. I think I got Phil Jungle like I think a week ago, a couple of days ago, if I remember correctly. And he didn't want to give me top, so I just played Mundo Jungle, and I noticed it. I had 3 losing lanes. And all I did and I got invaded. It's not like I had all my camps. I did get invaded, but I still like got to 2 items quicker than my other losing lanes. By the way, just as a like notice, not really as like a complaint or like a proof, you know, like that I'm ahead of the curve. But I got there. I got my Heartsteel, even though I was like 0-1 or 0-2. I got my Heartsteel, got my Deadman's, which Warmox is a fairly expensive items if you play top. You get to Heartsteel and Deadman's in jungle pretty quickly, believe it or not. And then all of a sudden, we kind of like we still lost that game, but because I had like insane inters on my team, but like I ended up like getting like an S plus to where I lost no LP due to the Valor thingy. So I didn't care about that game, but it just showed like how all of a sudden I got to my scaling point because they couldn't like kind of like make use of my weaknesses, and I started walking over the enemies at some point in mid game, and we kind of started also like winning a little bit, getting back into the game. It's just that like we were 2 behind at that point, right? Like the team fights didn't matter that much anymore because we were down so much, and because like I don't know, I had like fucking 4 parrots on my team who like actually didn't have a keyboard. But I collected those kills and I like got value, right? Just based off on that. If I pick Mundo top, bro, I'm cooked, bro. I'm 0-1 and I'm that behind. Every lane is losing. There's nothing I can do. I get completely run over and dove. Like with Mundo, it's important that you get your level 11 and 16 for like that extra ulti buff, and that extra HP, which gives you AD in turn. You don't have that worry in jungle that much. You get that fairly quickly, and then you just run over the enemies. So what jungle effectively does for me right now is it just, or like Nail is a good example. Nail literally just quit top lane. Like I play a lot of Aatrox top. He's decently strong. I do find myself very difficult to carry though on Aatrox top. Nail just picks like Aatrox jungle all of a sudden and 1v9s every game, bro. 3 challenger accounts. Like challenger right now is like at 1.6 KLP or something. That's crazy. That's no easy feat. So respect on his name, but like still, like suddenly we make that shift and it's just completely giga broken. And before that, he just, played on one account, main account, had his gem account, had his like maybe Chal peak, 1.4 KLP, whatever it was back then. Then he switched to jungle. All of a sudden, he doesn't need to go like some stupid builds anymore to survive the lane or like mitigate his weaknesses as a champion. He just goes hubris. He just goes full lethality most like a lot of the games, right? Or rushes. I don't know what he rushes, but like he goes Dev's Dance second or third item, completely 1v9s the game, bro. No counterplay. Like Aatrox jungle right now is Netanyahu. Coincidentally, the champs that are like with clear weaknesses on top lane that are most of the times like below C tier, D tier, like statistically speaking, base statistically speaking, I'm not like gauging like because I can play on best of top and still win, although that champion is like D tier and is pretty bad in most matchups, right? You can still get to the scaling point. It's just that like your play style and your weaknesses are very clear and you have to play very, very well. Jungle takes that shit completely away. You don't need to, bro. Every ambassador, like, people complain about these champions right now, these assassins, and they're getting nerfed, and ambassadors getting nerfed, and fucking Aatrox getting nerfed because of jungle. How can we say jungle is not the most fucking retarded role in the game then? Like, it's absolutely obvious and bonkers, right? Like it's just that, like, that lane itself just allows you to do that. It's not like inherently that like jungle champions are OP or that jungle itself is OP. It's just like the nuances, like the small things the jungle, the role as a jungler allows you to do. That, like I said, first of all, the resources. Second of all, the fact that on the map nothing kind of like can be done without a jungler, right? If you want to like progress the game. Third of all, the abusing the strength of a champion, meanwhile mitigating their weaknesses. Because when D-Shield's second win was OP, for example, oh, Riot instantly nerfed that shit. No. They didn't care if that influences the top lane, by the way. They don't give a fuck. They don't want an Akali with D-Shield second win mid giving, like, mage players cancer. That is not okay, you know? Like, Akali is very strong, stronger than, like, a traditional mage, mid-game, late game, and early game. So she should have clear weaknesses early so that there is counterplay. But to junglers, we don't, or like what's the overarching kind of like message here? You know what I mean? So like that is the problem with jungling, in my opinion. Not whatever this fucking Loilo Bob is saying.
0-3, or the bot lane is, you know, goes 0-6, and you feel like, you know, you can't.
He has a good point. Like, you know, like he instantly shuts down this guy's like take. Because, yeah, you're right. What if your laner goes 0 fucking 10, like, with or without you? You know, what if he ends the game? Does that make your role, like, less OP, more OP? Like, he has a good point, right? But that's not, like, what it is. That's not what it truly is. I just think the way League of Legends players play the game nowadays, which is natural, like, I don't criticize anyone doing this, like, as a meta slave or whatever. Because top lane, whatever can build Sterix Gauge and Death's Dance and fucking Sunderer on top is pretty broken because those items are very effective at what they're doing, right? So whatever builds Death's Dance top is really strong. Whatever builds certain tank items top is really strong because they're effective. Whether it be through wave clear or just raw damage, right? Raw damage output in like contrast to how much you can sustain damage, because let's be honest, I mean Death's Dance Engage got buffed. Like I remember when K'Sante was initially very OP, not like today's OP, but like very, very OP, like very clearly OP, where it was picked in pro play almost every game. Around that time or before, Gauge and Death's Dance and like a lot of Bruiser items got like nerfed quite a bit because they had even more stats on them than they have now. And as it stands right now, they're still too effective. Like Death's Dance is still too effective. Like Death's Dance has become like a point where it's like, oh, this guy is still killable. He doesn't have Death's Dance yet. How many times I hear that from streamers or in my games where I'm like, okay, so we can still make plays because Ambessa doesn't have Death's Dance yet, because Aatrox doesn't have Death's Dance yet, because a Master Yi, for some reason, he builds Death's Dance, doesn't have Death's Dance yet. So we're getting back to that point like 2 years ago where even champions that traditionally don't or shouldn't be effective on Death's Dance build Death's Dance because it's just that effective, and they don't care that they can't really use the haste or the, you know, the AD that much, and they have better options. It's just that like the passive of Death's Dance is just so good and effective at keeping you alive while you like 1v5, right? Because like survivability is like all there is like right now in League. Like being able to survive prolonged fights and healing back is kind of the meta right now. That's why it's like so tank focused, or the range top laners that are being picked are most of the times the ones that have in their kit built in some sort of like shred or percent health, is because what counters Death's Dance? Well, it's shoot damage and percent health, something that chunks you out really quick to where you can't make full use of that like dotting passive that then resets if an enemy dies, right? If you end up killing someone in a team fight or someone dies that you attacked. Those are like the problems of the game. Jungler just like shortcuts you to that point. So you don't fix, you're not supposed to like, oh, fix jungles, make these champions not viable in jungle. Just make them not so effective. Give the champs also in jungle some sort of weakness. Bro, I looked at a pre-nerf Zed jungle. Randomly, I saw it like, you know, in a video that I watched a couple of months ago. Yo, he used to like legit just 2 auto attack a camp and it's dead, like a red buff. He Q'd eat the red buff once, then it was like below that threshold of his passive where it like Zed's passive does like bonus, I don't know, HP magic damage, sort of like Aatrox on auto attack with no cooldown, by the way, no cooldown. He just does that. And then he just autos the fucking red buff twice and it just explodes. So he clears a camp, like he clears a side camp within like 5 seconds. I mean, and then traditional junglers with like insane AoE like Udyr can do that maybe when he has like 2 AP items. Like, are we serious? It's a little bit too effective. We like, you know, like where's the weakness to that, right? Like if assassin junglers can be very quick and efficient at like or top laners like Mundo, very quick and efficient because of their percent health is 100% on monster damage, and they can be that quick and efficient at clearing, why the fuck would I ever pick a traditional jungler anymore? First of all. Second of all, they're also like the fastest and have like the best gangs because the talent can just jump around. Zed has like mobility with his W, right? Like, what the fuck? I mean, sure, you can say just pick a tank against them and like, you know, you will, because tanks, I guess, counter lethality champions to some degree later in the game. That's true, but right now League is in a state of like a very snowball heavy game because we moved from like late game to more of a like quick game. That's why minions spawn quicker. That's why everything just happens quicker, because we want games to be done quicker. We want, you know, we want shit to happen quicker. So it's a very snowball heavy game. Again, it used to be at that point. Then they nerfed it a little bit when they nerfed the platings, and now they re-added it because every turret has a plating and everything just happens quicker. Everything is worth more gold. Or like distributed better, to the point where the one with the upper hand can snowball better because he can get to those plates that are distributed easier, you know, like a top laner after he kills his tier 2 and his bot lane is cancer feeding, he can just go top lane, just collect those platings, just give that lane a little bit of cancer. He can go back top and just fist fight for the tier 2 if he's strong enough, right? Get those platings, while the enemy, sure, he also has those platings on the enemy turrets, right? He has the resources as well. He just can't get there yet, you know? So it's very snowball heavy. Meanwhile, back in the day, it was like, after you kill the tier 1, that was like your big chunk of gold. And then the next one would be like the full tier 2 and the full tier 3. That will give you like a lot of gold. You would have to like fully commit on like a play. You know, you want to actually go for the tier 2. Or is there still enough time, because plates disappeared like 14 minutes, was there still enough time for me to go bot and collect those platings? So the playstyle kind of like changed back into like a very snowball heavy game. So it doesn't really matter if you try to counter an assassin jungle, an ambassador jungle who goes because, or like an Aatrox jungle, because they a lot of the times go lethality items, because you don't get to the point anyways. Like, they will snowball you so hard out of the game that you don't really have a chance of winning unless you like playing like an elo where it's actually so extremely flip that at any point in the game something can happen, like a random fucking Eldritch Steel suddenly turns the game around. Like, that's kind of rare. That's the inherent problem with jungle, not whatever this fucking guy is saying. Like,
anything because they died.
They depend on like the current state of how things are looking, or as well as like perhaps the champions that they're playing, or what we're playing into, or how the game has been progressing so far.
Yeah, but when you're saying you think jungle is too impactful, right? In a situation where junglers can gank lanes, and that's true, and they can impact lanes a lot. Lanes can also just die.
Support also can do that, by the way. So I don't know why he's so fixated on jungle. Support can very well impact lanes too. I think ganking is completely fine and it's okay. There's like legit one high elo player that I can think of that is annoyed by ganks, and that's Yamato's death for some reason. He's the one who's like, oh, let's bring back the 1v1s, you know, like the solo lanes. Like, no, like, why would you want someone to stay in their role and not impact the game? Like, do you want to play chess or do you want to play a MOBA, you know?
Repeatedly by themselves, right? Or you could get counter jungled because you have a bad matchup, right? Like, what leads you to the conclusion that
Not even role quest fixed that, by the way. People thought that like, oh, through the role quests, supports will roam less. They don't. No, they don't, and they're doing just fine. Support is actually a pretty powerful role. They don't. I think the gold thing is a bit of an overbuff, but not as much. Like in low elo, I think that's a good change that they want to reward that gold, because if your ADC's fucking dog shit, at least you can like last it instead of him if he's like dead 20 times. And if you play something that has like a lot of damage, you can use that gold better than him. I think that's fine. For junglers, it should stay that way, because if they do more than just tax a lane or I guess freeze for you, or push out for you, they're trolling the game. If they would ever want to farm more minions while their camps are up, they're just trying to int you, like...
That action that you're taking as a jungler is more powerful or more impactful than something that would happen in another lane.
I think that intrinsically, because of a jungler's position to affect every lane by will of their own choosing, instead of particularly being
and that's where like bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, put me in that fucking chair, dog. Like, what is he saying? By the choosing of his own will, bro. By the choosing of my own will, I can just die level 3 on top lane and decide, oh, let me gank mid. So is my role OP? I just walk to mid, bro, and just gank it. I might get a cheese kill. It's flip though, right? So what he's saying is jungle is OP because you have the decision to flip. Okay, yeah, you do, I guess, but that's actually like not a good thing. It's actually a game ruining freedom that junglers oftentimes actually do. They ruin their own lane or the entire game because if the enemy, like, you put the enemy jungler so far ahead, you kind of have to play in a very suppressed kind of like obeying way to your jungler in order to like kind of come back, because they decided on the flip plays. And I think I even made a video about that where I talked about a fucking Graves who flipped every single play, bro, like every single play, and that Graves was Masters. So I mean, like, what are we talking about? Free will. Like, yeah, everyone can walk on another lane at free will. Like, yeah, they will lose out a lot. We have this imagination that junglers don't lose out on anything because they can just walk instead of like, gank instead of getting their camps and not lose anything. When the real, like, I guess arguable issue is that their camps don't disappear anywhere. Right? Like, you can get counter jungled. You should get counter jungled. Does that happen most of the times? Probably not. That's also not a choice that the other jungler has. While if I push out a wave and kind of move to grubs or move to mid or TP bot, I will lose minions. I will lose that gold. That gold is gone. It's over. It's gone from the map. Your camp stay there. If you path towards your wraith and you see mid is diving and you counter gank it, or you just gank it because it's on a good wave state for you to gank, you can go right back doing your wraith and getting that gold, getting your wave, as you could say, and you got like impact on the map.
Did to like my top lane, I have to push top. I think that because the jungler is given the ability to affect these lanes as well as make calls on the map to secure specific objectives, that they would have more impact on the game overall.
They don't.
Yeah.
They
So
don't though.
would-
They don't make those, like, yeah, they do make those calls, but those calls are reliant on like you, like on your laners. It is a team game after all. Again, if you just go do grubs, it is flip. If you do grubs on my reset timer, it is flip. Is there a chance that the enemy top laner thinks like, oh yeah, he back now, I just came back to lane after he killed me, let me, set up a slow push, set up like maybe a full push if I'm like Garen and can push it instantly, get a plating. Most of the times what you see in high elo, they will push out that wave that is initially at that turret, but afterwards they will ward the river, and the Fey lights kind of like reveal a big part of there. It's just flip doing that. Like, it's not free will. Like, it is free will, but it's free will for me to jump out this window. It's flip. Will I break my legs or will I hit my head and die? Like, and become Watley or something, brain damage and then survive. But I mean, what is, we Because these arguments that he's making, you can make it on every role. This is not why the role is strong.
Would you say that,
or
for
like
example,
the most impactful? Because like strong wise, yes, every role is strong. It's just that, like jungle, as explained for like half an hour now, gets the edge because it mitigates the weaknesses and lets the champion flourish, and therefore you're ahead of the curve and blah blah blah. I explained it.
a roaming support would have similar levels of influence to a jungler, even though they can't like fight people, for example?
I would say definitely support also has a very high impact, but I think arguably a little less than jungler because they aren't specifically geared to secure.
These people, like some people, you're smart. This signals like get the fuck off the chair, bro. Like, bro, I will be going to every one of them, steal all of theirs, and hold them up, bro, with my feet, with my two hands, and my fucking cock. I'll put that between my dick hole and hold one of these up. Like, bro, get off that chair, dog. They want to put me on that chair. Like, you know, fucking riot phroxon or whoever this is. Yeah, riot phroxon. They're fine. I'm not saying like I wouldn't be on that chair to like win the argument. I would just have like clear issues with the game, and I'm 100% sure he would agree, but it's nothing that you just fix overnight because it's not a role problem. It's like a balancing problem overall, because what the fuck do you realistically do? Like, yeah, you can gut the, like, I mean, you know, the fastest way to that high of killing something in jungle or not making it powerful anymore is by gutting like the clear. Clear speed is what junglers care most about. They want to fucking kill their fucking minions in their jungle, their PvE quick. Why? So they can go impact the map more, so they can get their gold and they can get their scalings. Same way a laner also like appreciates a good wave clear, you know, like to kill all the minions and get it done with. But junglers are impatient pigs, dude. They want that shit instantly. And if their champion level 1 does not like completely one-shot the camp, and by 2 minutes you're not like you don't back with like 1,000 gold and come back to Skull Crab with a long sword, a dark seal or whatever, it's not a good jungler. Because enemy will pick something that is just better, and therefore he will be faster on the scuttle. He gets that gold. I don't make use of my laner's priority, blah blah blah. Yeah, you know, so it just like it's an environment that has been built around the player base shifting this way. That's why I'm saying it's nothing that it's not that like you can't blame a game's imbalance on like players min-maxing. They will obviously do that, bro. They will obviously abuse whatever is working, whatever is meta. It's the devs' work to kind of like find ways to not make it fucking cancer and obviously too impactful, right? Because like right now I'm pretty sure, and like I'll die on that hill, I know that Riot right now is balancing the line of like making the game feel fresh. That's why unorthodox things are allowed on top in jungle, and also like mages ADC and ADC's mid top and whatnot. And the only thing that I'm not seeing is ADC's jungle. I've seen it sometimes, but not really. Like, we will get to a point where that's gonna be good. I don't know, maybe. Probably not, I think, but who knows? That diversity keeps it fresh, keeps like players wanting to experiment in other roles, which they like that. They like that from a business perspective. It makes the game more cancer for the other people. Yes, how much though? They're trying to gauge that balance of like cancer to reward. You know, they wanna ideally I think they want the cancer to be a little bit below like the reward, but right now it's kind of above or like in the middle, and unless it's like far below, people will never be happy. So it's a good thing that they don't listen to people, you know, like, oh, remove range top from like, bro, I'm against range top every game. Does it give me cancer? Yes, but they have clear weaknesses. If I play locked in and I'm good, I can win the majority of the game. I'll not win every game because I will have bad teams and then the enemy can just get away with murder, but I will win most of my games. And it's a statistic. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And the marathon in the jungle is that right now, that diversity kind of makes the role absolutely insufferable to play against, because the top laners that you like and that you saw being meta top lane a lot have clear weaknesses, have fallen off top lane, simply because they're really OP jungle all of a sudden, bro. They're completely Hitler in jungle for some reason. Like, what? You know? Mundo, like, his weakness in jungle, gone because he's in jungle. Mbessa, fucking D tier on top, completely shit unless you, like, play her extremely effective, farm perfectly, get your spike eclipse quick. You don't even need eclipse if you're playing jungle. You rush Profane Hydra, you rush, I don't know, Serpent's Fang, you go DD, and then you completely annihilate the game because you spawn with 3 items and just one-shot every team fight. And then it's like, oh, Mbessa is so OP, bro. We, like, nerf that champion. Okay, champion is being nerfed. Mundo is being nerfed. Fucks him over also in top lane, you know? Like, but then again, I told you, like, the shortcut, the heroin hit from Riot in my head is to, if we balance the numbers, monster damage wise, but then it kills them in jungle. It doesn't, like, it like completely removes them. People will just not want to play it, and that kills the diversity again. That will make the players just, oh, this is not meta anymore. I can't play Mundo jungle anymore, or like Zed jungle because they nerfed the passive a little bit, so I don't one-shot the camps anymore. So like an Udyr is a little bit faster at scuttle than me. Well, GG's, bro. I don't want to play that shit anymore because it's not min-maxed anymore, right? And that kind of like removes the champion from jungle in like a very quick way. But they also don't want that. They want them to still be there but not weak. So they have to, like, in order to solve a small problem, you have to like solve a bigger problem. So I understand Riot's point. Like, definitely, I'm not the one crying out like Yamato's death or someone else was like very criticizing about the game and its state and, oh, kill this, kill that, or remove this, remove that. No, it's fine, bro. Like, yeah, I get cancer playing against Teemo top, but, you know, if I'm locked in, if I have the right picks for it, I'll do fine. You know, if I'm unlucky and have to blind into him and I get completely fucking shafted, hey, part of the game, bro, you know? But in jungle, it doesn't feel like part of the game. It feels like, bro, you see every game the same picks. They just get ahead, snowball so hard, and you can literally almost do nothing about it because they mitigate the weaknesses. Like, something that is very strong early game in lane, like an assassin comes to mind, would have like clear weaknesses, right? But in jungle they just don't. So they win the 2v2 if they contest the scuttle because I'm a fucking silly little Kesante with a D shield. My jungler is like a silly little, I don't know, like, what's like a traditional jungler, bro? Like, I don't know, like a J4, but J4 is not like that weak. But you get like the point. And so he contests that, and he cleared his camp, so he has like Dirk now. You have maybe a cloth armor. That Dirk completely shuts that down because it's flat. Lethality is a flat armor pen. It's not percent, so you're basically pretty much useless. He will always be stronger than you. You lose that 2v2. Okay, he gets that scuttle. And at start, it seems like a small thing, but it snowballs later on, and the game already being very snowbally kind of makes these picks kind of unsufferable. Not my role, not my problem, sure, but I do have to rotate for some things, and I do have to play around it. Now I know I don't have the strength for it, bro. Like, if I play Kesante top, even an Aatrox top, even an Ambessa top, I do not have the strength to 2v2 this, bro. Like, you know, we have a fucking Shaco or a Maokai jungle. They have one of these top laners / assassins jungles. They will win the 2v2 every day of the week. They get both scuttles. They go flip top. They go flip bot. Get kills bot. Boom, snowballs. GG, it's over. They get invaded in every camp. You can kind of like, you can't play unless you dominate your lane. Top lane is very hard to dominate, like, nowadays, because you either play into ranged or like some neutralizing lane where you kind of like handshake waves. So the way you get ahead is platings, a CS, and maybe a kill or two, while enemy jungler sits on like 200 farm and probably like 4 or 5 kills, you know? Not because he can gank lanes. I can also go other lanes, get my kills. I just lose out a lot on it. Junglers kind of just guaranteed those resources on top of their impact on the map.
Objectives and to gank other lanes, but they do also have a very effective way of influencing a map with vision and other
aspects.
Yeah, I mean,
What I'm trying to get at is
everyone's trying to vote this guy out because he's he's obviously the silver imposter here, bro. Look, 4 thumbs down. You can't see because see here, 5 thumbs down. Yeah, bro. Like, I'm gonna dislike this video just because of this guy. Yeah, I mean, cheers. Worst fucking jungle take I've ever seen.